it's Fred here at Shenar's Nursery. Today I want to talk about feeding your beehives. So there's lots of different ways to feed the hives, lots of different types of feed, and depending on the time of year, you're going to be feeding differently. So first let's talk about this entrance feeder. This is called a Boardman feeder. It just takes a mason jar full of sugar syrup, and it's a pretty convenient, easy way to feed bees. If you have one of these on, you might have to modify your entrance reducer if you want one of these in there. Doesn't obviously fit, but it's a real convenient way to feed sugar syrup. So how do you make sugar syrup? Usually it's 2-to-1 sugar to water, so 2 cups of sugar to 1 cup of water. But depending on the time of year, you might want to feed a 1-to-1 sugar syrup mixture. So in February, when the bees are starting to wake up, I like to feed a 1-to-1. It's called light sugar. The bees consume it, but they don't store it. They'll just drink it, and that helps the queen kickstart her laying season out of the winter. So 1-to-1 is really good in February. After that, I switched to 2-to-1. So 2 parts sugar, 1 part water. And remember, you don't boil your sugar water. Okay, you could use warm water. But you don't want to bring it to a boil. Boiled sugar is not really good for bees. So I use cold water, but you can use warm water, just don't boil it. Whenever you feed sugar syrup, you want to put some Honey Bee Healthy in there. This is really good to add to your sugar syrup. It's got essential oils and everything the bees need to make them happy and healthy. So always add that, that's really good. So another method for feeding sugar is your tray feeder. This one is for a 10-frame hive, and it's got this little thing inside there to keep the bees from drowning in the sugar syrup. So make sure that that is in there when you use this. So that just fits over there, and then the bees can't drown as bad. They'll still drown, but not as bad. But that just fits inside the top. And this is an 8-frame feeder, so it's a little bit different size, but same concept. The Vivaldi board has a hole in the top, so the bees can crawl up in there and drink the sugar. So that's one method. Another method is this inboard feeder. So this will hold a whole gallon of sugar. It's got these ladders that the bees can climb down. Every time you feed sugar syrup in this, you're going to want to take these out and clean them out first, because the bees there'll be dead bees in these. I don't usually put a whole gallon in this at a time, but you can. This can just stay in there year round, so that's a convenient, easy way to feed. Sugar syrup you feed most of the year, but in the winter, remember, it's too cold for the bees to drink that sugar syrup. They can't move over and go down and drink this. They can't go up into the Vivaldi board and drink sugar. It's too much moisture in the hive. So we, in the winter, would feed just granulated sugar. You can just pour that right on the frames, maybe put a piece of paper right here, and pour some sugar on there, and the bees will eat that dry sugar. Another thing we feed bees is protein. This is a protein patty. It's a protein substitute. This is really good for bees. One of the most important things you can feed your bees. I feed this all year. Even if your bees are bringing in pollen, and you notice that there's lots of pollen coming in, that's not good enough. They need this also. This helps the queen lay extra eggs, which makes your hive healthier, more bees to last the winter. So you want to feed this almost year round. You pretty much always have this in your hive. And it goes right between the 2 deeps, okay, right in the middle. You might want to cut it up into little pieces, but you're going to put it right in the middle of your 2 deeps, and right in the middle of the 4 frames. That's where your nurse bees are, the younger bees. And you want the young baby bees to eat this because they feed it to the queen, and then the queen will lay more eggs and be healthy. So this is really, really important. In the winter, you're not going to be opening the hive in the middle. Plus, the bees are going to come up out of that bottom box a lot of times. So you don't want to put this down there. They won't eat it. They won't be down there. So in the winter, we feed it this kind of protein. This has more sugar, less protein. So this one's a little bit better for winter feeding. You just take it, it's really sticky stuff, so you just take a spoonful and just spread it on the top of the hive. Okay, all the bees are going to be up there, and so you're putting it right where they are, right in the middle. And you just use a spoon and put however much you want on there. If you come back in a couple weeks and they haven't ate it all, you know you put a little bit too much. So you want it to be fresh each time, so you might have to scrape some dry stuff off. But this is a really good feed for the winter. It's got a lot of sugar. And remember, in the winter, you can't feed liquid sugar. So this is a really good, this is protein and sugar. Otherwise, you'll be pouring sugar, dry sugar on your frames. So you can do that also. But this has got enough sugar that this is all you need to feed them in the winter right here. And that pretty much covers feeding the beehive. Hope that was informative, and we'll see you next time.